Alright, Cancer. Thank you for your patience. I had gotten really sick after I started the readings last week, hence the delay, but I'm happy to be here with you. So almost every single sign thus far has received the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Swords, and half the time they are together. So February is really a time of realizing our options and needing to make a decision on which one is more viable. Especially in this case, because I feel like you're being asked to break up with struggle here, which I gave a slightly similar message to Capricorn, which is your opposite sign, because the Two of Pentacles and the Two of Swords is kind of wanting to continue to juggle because you're afraid of making the wrong decision. The Hanged Man and the Five of Pentacles also needs to be embraced in the sense that, one, yes, breaking up a struggle, but two, also seeing separation in a different light, and finding the purpose in all that you've been through. Because sometimes when we're really bitter or angry about what we've had to endure, we can't ever see the lesson in it, and we can't move through it, and we can't move past it. We just feel suspended in that struggle and suspended in strife. And I feel like now you're having to make a choice of whether or not you want to continue on with that story, or whether you want to kind of absorb what is needed from that message and then move forward with it. Because then we have the Star and the Emperor. This is saying that if you're going to commit to anything, if you're going to be stubborn about anything, if you're going to be locked in and rigid about anything, let it be your faith in your power. Let it be the faith in miracles. Let it be the faith, your faith in your ability to make your dreams happen. But that's going to require you to rejuvenate your spirit. And again, you'd have to make a decision, right? Because even though the Star isn't a two, we have two vessels here that she's holding, okay? So both of them are getting poured out. One is getting put into the earth, right, into the material, and one is getting poured back into the spirit. And there needs to be a renewal, because I feel like there are things that you've held on to that are just no longer nourishing you, and they need to be replenished. And we can't replenish ourselves until we empty ourselves out. So especially when it comes to career, if you've been waiting for like a breakthrough or the break, if you will, I feel like keep reminding yourself that your discipline and your dedication to your craft and to your dreams is not ever wasted, even if it's not manifesting the way that you want it to. But you need to look at what is the common theme or pattern in this dream. Like, what have you been learning about this dream while being separated from it being a monetary influence, or while you felt like you've had a struggle to actualize it? There's something that has happened over the last 5 months or so, the last period. It can be even since last May. Something that has gone on, and I feel like it's about to come full circle, and you're going to have to make a decision about the way you're going to approach it going forward. All right, Cancer. Just a quick reminder that I am currently on hiatus from taking private readings, but I did release a poetry book, and that is available for purchase as an instant download PDF. All that info is in the description box below. It is definitely, I feel like, something that a Cancer would appreciate. Very emo poetry. Anyways, for additional guidance, we are using the Magdalene Oracle today. And I would be honest, I was going to do the Cancer reading yesterday, and I had a feeling, like, I even started it. I did like a minute and a half of shuffling, and I was like, nah, not today. And then for those of you that have followed me for a long time, you know that I have very vivid dreams, and a Cancer person called me in my dream state last night twice. So I knew today was Cancer had to be the first reading that I did. So our overall message from the Magdalene Oracle is the secret. This card really speaks about when either you or somebody close to you reveals something to, you know, again, they reveal it to you or you reveal it to somebody close, that can kind of upset the apple cart. It may be information that they don't want you to share. It's going to be information that somehow makes you feel guilty. If you were honest about it, it's like when someone tells you a secret and they swear you to secrecy, but you know that the other party that they're holding the secret from deserves to know, that kind of thing. Okay, and with these 3 sevens here, especially with the 7 of Swords showing up in your advice column, they're accompanied with the sun at that. Living in the dark at this time, whether it be for someone else's benefit or what you deem as being loyal, or if you expect people to hold back your secrets to their own detriment and things like that, I feel like right now is not going to really pan out for you very well. Especially since at the bottom of the deck we have confusion. So I feel like, too, with the secret here, withholding at this time is going to block your ability to be authentic. It's going to block your ability to move freely. Because there's also a lot of energy here in this spread. This spread's very positive in general, but there's a lot of energy in this spread talking about hesitancy and a little bit of a resistance. Not really ready to overall flow with the pace that Spirit is offering. And that's probably because you're having to unpack anything around holding back. Sometimes, you know, with Cancer being the sign, you know, the type of sign that you are, you know, loyalty to family or people that we regard as family isn't always beneficial. Because loyalty as a concept, if not first used on ourselves and being loyal to our own being loyal to our values and our truth, if we're not first doing that, the rest of it is kind of baloney, because to be loyal is to be dedicated and true to a message, to a ideal, to a power bigger than ourselves, right? That we know serves the greater good. And if you're going against your own intuition in the name of DNA or the name of, well, we've been friends for 10 years, you know, you're really going to have to meditate on, if there's something that you've been holding back from being honest about, you really need to meditate on why you feel the need to keep this to yourself. And there may be fear of what will transpire if you release this burden. Okay, and again, it could be your own secret, it could be a family secret, it could be a friend is cheating on their spouse, or whatever the case may be. It could be a lot of different things. But I do feel like it's related to your nuclear family on some regard, or at least the family that you share either a last name with, or that you consider, again, that a friend. Because we do have the friendship rune here on the Queen of Cups, and this Queen of Cups can be you. However, I particularly see Cancer as the Knight of Cups, and that is your overall energy. So I do feel like this is about you and about your life. And because we have the Queen of Cups showing up with the friendship rune, this could be another water sign, you know, another Cancer or a Scorpio or a Pisces, or it could be someone that's extremely intuitive that you feel like withholds information, or this is the person that you go to tell your secrets to, or you want to tell this person this secret. But either way, I do feel like there is emotional withholding that's going on here. And it may be because inside your own family, you emotionally withhold. There's something here about, like, sometimes you endure emotional pain for, like, the quote greater good of your family. Like, you take the blow to not upset the apple cart, right? Or it could be the opposite, where people in your family have done it for you and now it's your turn to do it for them. Something like that. But it's time to live in the sun, because there's too much repression here. And she does have her eyes closed in this card in the secret. So there is a need to really meditate on what that energy that you're withholding is really doing for you. Because again, with confusion on the bottom of the deck, there is a need to bring clarity to the surface. And with the Knight of Cups as your overall energy this month, there is a need to begin to flow with life and present, right? The Knight of Cups has a presentation of a cup. There's a need to present yourself in an honest, open manner in order to get the best response from the universe. What you're being asked to leave behind, we have the Seven of Pentacles with the rune Luck and the Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Pentacles always talks about worrying whether or not your efforts were ever going to be worth it and if they're going to yield anything. And I feel like there's just this constant gnawing in the back of your head that if, whether it be in work or just money in general or just in life, like, because I feel like this is going to be different for everybody. It's like, am I doing all of this for nothing? I think you have that conversation with yourself very frequently. Is this going to pay off? I think that you're constantly wondering if your efforts are going to pay off. At some point, you have to ask yourself, are you wondering if they're going to pay off because you'd rather? If they weren't, you wouldn't want to be doing them. And now, when it comes to like financial endeavors, it's understandable to feel like that. But when it comes to emotional endeavors or spiritual endeavors, we should do things that we want to do just because we want to do them, not because we hope that they have a payoff. So if you are waiting for luck to be on your side, if you're waiting for favor to be on your side, I feel like you need to ask yourself, why isn't the results that I have now enough? And it's okay. It doesn't matter what the answer is, but I feel like you need to know, because that's going to reveal to yourself right there. Some things we do purely out of pleasure. And if even the things that you used to do out of pleasure, you're now demanding a result from, I feel like there has been a shift in what you really want. And with the Seven of Wands here, this energy is defensive. So I feel like you are very defensive of the effort you put forward. And you're kind of like, it's not like give an inch and take a mile type of energy, but it's like you're only going to give knowing that you're going to get back. And it's like, oh, I gave you an inch, so where's my inch? Like, it's very like, there's a very tight grip on what you give. And Spirit is asking you to release that. Because again, there's this regimented type of energy. And it's a little bit of a defensive type of energy. It's not as defensive as it has been in the past. But it's still, it's like, all right, look at me. I'm not going to do it your way because I know that my way is going to pay off. I think that's another thing. I think that you went a route in your life, whether that be personally or professionally or both. You've gone a route in your life that other people didn't agree with. And I think you're dying for things to pay off because you want to be able to tell people that you told them, like that you were right and they were wrong. But if that's your only motivation, if your only motivation to have all of this work out is so that you could tell people that you knew better and that your decision was the best, then you're not even going to be happy when it does pan out. You know what I mean? Because that's like just wanting to throw things in people's faces. So I feel like you need to really make sure that your intentions are pure and that you're being honest with yourself. Because the door that's not open, that was once closed, we have the Ace of Cups with the Fool. And on the Fool, we have the rune Protection. Now, when it comes to the Fool, I feel like Cancer, maybe more than other signs, struggle with this kind of energy of having to scrap everything. Okay, especially in a non-physical manner. Scrapping all attachments. For the Ace of Cups, to be forgiven, to forgive oneself, to be renewed in the spirit, and to be invited into a deepening in a new level of flow with the non-physical. And I feel like there's also a level of innocence I feel like you've been trying to protect yourself from, or a level of innocence that you're trying to protect by continuing to do all this. I also feel like you've been trying to shield yourself from having to step onto the Fool's journey and coming back to the beginning. It's like, I've already gone so far, I don't want to start over again. And sometimes we have conversations with ourselves where it's like, well, I've already been doing this for 5 years, I've already been doing this for 10 years, I've already been doing this for 20 years, I don't want to start again. But like, naturally, just like in nature, things regenerate. And they come back in the same form or a slightly altered form or a different form. And again, the only way you're going to feel comfortable regenerating something or renewing something is if you have faith. So if you're not feeling safe to completely release all attachments and begin again for your own health. Because I feel like it's for your own mental health, to be honest, spiritual health, emotional health. Then that's an issue, because, and we're going to get to that too. All you have left is the Four of Pentacles, but I still feel like it's taking a little bit of a toll on you. And I also feel like the way these cards are falling, you have to first be willing to start again before that new offer of connection, that new way of flowing in spirit is going to be offered to you. And if you move on the air of caution, I feel like you're going to not get the whole package that you could be getting if you just stepped out and were willing to just live without that shell, right? I know you love your shell, and that's okay. But with the Knight of Cups, regardless, even though he has his armor on, he has his cup out. And he's riding on a white horse. He understands the value of purity. He understands the value of innocence. And that it is a vehicle. Because you also have the sun here on the white horse. And that's saying that innocence is a vehicle. Meaning, yes, we can learn a lot from our trials and tribulations. Yes, we can learn a lot from the pain and the anguish and the things that happen to us as we age, right? But nothing will take us further and faster, I feel, than the return to the self and in the most innocent form, the return to the inner child, because that is an unscathed persona. And because the ego and the mind don't forget, you still remember your lessons as an adult, but you come through unscathed. So the protection that you seek is really to come back home to yourself. Because no one is more brave than those that are willing to be innocent in a world that is full of, turmoil, to be, frank. Your current energy, as it relates to all of this, in your head, we have the 10 of Pentacles with the Hierophant. In your heart, the Queen of Cups with the rune Friendship. And in your foundation, we have the Four of Pentacles. So I just feel like overall, you don't like to change things until it's like life or death. And I think it's getting to the point in your life where you can't wait that long anymore. And especially for people that have endured a lot of loss, especially whether it be on a financial level or through their family sector or whatever the case may be. Those of us that have endured a lot of loss, we're just clingy by nature, and not clingy in the way that people would typically identify clingy, but clingy in the sense that the idea of detaching in order to invite in more really is a mind fuck. You know what I mean? It really is. So with the Four of Pentacles in your foundation, it's important to remember that, one, you are secure. And until you believe that you're secure, it's going to be very difficult to see the evidence of your security. And also, with the way that you're clinging to things at this time, it doesn't leave your hands open. It doesn't leave your heart open. It doesn't leave your spirit open to attracting more. So you have to know that. You have to be okay with the cap that you've placed on yourself. With the Queen of Cups in your heart space, especially with the rune Friendship, and this Friendship rune is looking just like her cup to me, her chalice to me right now. Who else got the Queen of Cups in their heart space? I think it was Scorpio. So I really feel like this may be a Scorpio that we're talking about here. Anyways, when we talk about the Queen of Cups as an emotional energy, no one knows how you feel. This is having an immense ocean full of emotions that nobody can perceive, that nobody can sense, that nobody can see. And this can start to make us feel isolated, and this can start to make us feel used or misunderstood or lonely in a room full of people, right? And with the Friendship rune here, if you've had a difficult time getting the most out of your friendships or really feeling like your friendships are supportive for you, like if you have a gripe, like, okay, let's say you love your friends, right? It's like, oh, I love my friends, but I'm always the listener. They never listen to me. right? Maybe that's your thing. You have to genuinely ask yourself if you're ever emotionally honest and open with your friends. Or if you feel afraid or are just wrong being open and, quote, burdening them the way that they burden you. Forgetting that you feel burdened because you never open up. And that if it was a give and take, it wouldn't feel the same. Or do you not want to open up because you're afraid they're going to judge you, or they're going to give you what you consider poor advice, and it's not going to make you feel any better? I know back in the day, I didn't like to share things with people because I'm like, well, even if I share them, they're going to give me stupid advice, and I'm not going to feel any better, and it's just going to be a waste. I expose myself for nothing, right? But like being in relationships alone, especially friendships, and if we can't tackle this in friendship, tackling it in romance is going to be very much more difficult, especially if if you're going to turn a friendship into a romantic endeavor, this is still the key pivotal point. We have to be transparent with people, and we have to be open with people that we love. If we hold that space for them, we have to expect that they would hold that for us. And if God for freaking bid they didn't, then when we know what to do moving forward, and we can cut them loose. But until you give them the opportunity to fail holding space for you, you can't be sure that they won't. With the Ten of Pentacles and the Hierophant in your head, I'm feeling that there's a strong sense of duty here. I feel like you've learned a lot of karmic lessons through your family unit. And I think that a lot of you are focused on how to set up a legacy and how to kind of be the leader. Even if you're younger in your family, even if, you're in your 20s or 30s and you have parents that are still alive and whatever, that don't need to be taken care of, I feel like you're trying to figure out how to step it up. Because the Hierophant for me is also about commitments to a role, right? And what role we take on that people are watching us. I also feel like this may be like children that are watching your every move. I also feel like this may be you unpacking the power structures within your relationships, and how whatever dynamic you experience between your parents or your parental figures and yourself also now plays out in your friendships and your own romantic relationships, and you're trying to unpack how, because it can work in a really subtle way. Like if you think we only mirror parent wounds with romantic partners, you're like sadly mistaken. Like I used to play out power dynamics with bosses all the time that were rooted in my parents. You know what I mean? So I feel like you also need to really look at the ancestral and familial karma, if you will, and indoctrination that you've experienced, and how that has drastically altered your way of identifying and connecting with people. Spirit's advice. We have the I don't know what I'm talking about, the Sun and the Seven of Swords. And on the Seven of Swords, we have the rune Constraint. Now, I love the Seven of Swords as advice, to be honest. With Constraint, though, I don't really love it. And I'm going to explain why. I feel like this is presenting itself twofold. One, the Sun with the Seven of Swords is saying that you can't hold back any type of truth or any type of necessity, some type of spiritual need, especially vocal need, because you're afraid that you're going to rain on somebody's parade. Okay? Well, meanwhile, you're in a fucking monsoon. You know what I mean? We need to live out in the open. Also, if you have been the type of person, or maybe with some people in your life, but not all, like, because sometimes we play out one dynamic in some relationships and another in another set. If you have put your happiness significantly before other people's in some dynamic of your life, and then you put other people's happiness before your others, there needs to be a balance where you have firm boundaries and you do what makes you happy. But if it's going to be something that harms another person or gets another person upset, you're upfront about it. Because the Seven of Swords does talk about taking what you need out of a situation and not really caring about what happens to people left behind. I mean, you're leaving them with something, but you're leaving them with this Two of Swords. You're leaving them with indecision. So if you have a tendency to run and hide because you don't want to face the music, or you just feel like, well, that's the only thing that's going to make me happy and I just have to get out of here. That's limiting you in some capacity with the constraint rune here. Also, I feel like on another level, you also feel like you only deserve so much happiness. So it's like when you start to experience like more than what you're used to, you kind of like run away because you don't want to find out if it was too good to be true or not. Okay? Those are a lot of different levels of advice, but ultimately, it's important to live out loud and live out in the open. And when we live out in the open, in the sun, we have to be willing to deal with everything about ourselves and be willing to be seen fully. Moving into March, we have the Eight of Wands with the Five of Swords, the Five of Wands. And on the Five of Wands, we have the rune Home. So being that your sign rules home in general, I feel like you're still undecided about what home feels like to you. If there have been issues in dynamics at your actual home or through your family, especially your mother, I feel like you're going to be getting a lot of messages and a lot of urges to move through this core wound. Because the Five of Wands can also just be like an unsettled dynamic, especially if you're used to, you may also just be conditioned to like, you're used to chaos, and as much as you want peace, as much as you want stability, it's so foreign to you that even if you found it, like you'd probably at first you'd be like unsettled by it. And that may be it as well, because I feel like you're getting a chance to also either move out of a chaotic home or realize that as much as you say you hate chaos, you continue to seek it because it just feels more safe to you, because we can feel comfortable in uncomfortable dynamics just because of how we're conditioned. So I feel like that needs to be unpacked as well. But similar to Scorpio, but not as heavy, I feel like the message here, Cancer, is we will never feel the support that we think that we want unless we are honest about it and don't feel any guilt or residual angst about what's going to happen when we let that cat out of the bag. All right? Mid-month readings are available as well. Those cover love for a month. They go from the middle of February to the middle of March. All right, in the description box if you're interested. Love you. Peace.